What if I told you that going to therapy could upgrade your life in just one conversation? Would you believe me? What if I told you that there's a stranger that you haven't even met yet that you will become so close with that he or she will start to know some of your secrets, some of your thoughts, and some of your fears that nobody else has ever heard before? Not even your family, not even your friends. Speaking of family or friends, what if I told you that constantly going to your family and friends for advice and help is one of the worst things you can do to ever learn more about what you actually believe and what you actually want? If you go to therapy and if you show up and if you be honest and if you be open to the process, one conversation could literally upgrade your entire life. You might be like, who are you and how do you know that? I'm Charlize. I'm a therapist. I've been working in this field for 6, 7 years now, all the way through COVID. And I sit and have sat across from thousands of people in that time frame. And the most beautiful part about it is when they start to say, I've never told anybody this. Don't judge me, but I actually believe. Or what do I do if I want to make this move or change in my life, but I don't know what my family and friends are going to say? You know, what's really cool about therapy is that there's a light bulb that goes off for people at a point. When we really get to when we really get to drill into their heart, to their mind, to their soul. Sometimes I even say all the way down to your big toe. And what I'm really saying is from the top of your head to the sole of your foot. How does it feel when you say that? What do you want to communicate? What makes you feel safe? It is unlike any experience you'll ever have in your lifetime, and it's kind of almost even hard to put into words. But I want you to kind of think about going to therapy like dating, right? When I first met my husband, I didn't know he was actually going to be my husband. I just went on a first date. When I actually met some of my best friends, I didn't know that they would be my best friends. I just went out for coffee, or I went out to a movie, or I said hello to somebody in a class. In those one moments and in those tiny experiences in my life ended up allowing me to meet some of the best people that I've ever met up until this point. But I never would have been able to have those experiences had I not given myself the chance to say, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to upgrade my mindset to say, I actually do want new friends. I actually do want to date. I actually do want to design a life that I really want to have. And to be honest, if you are currently in a situation where you don't like your life, where maybe you have anxiety, maybe you constantly ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why does nobody else seem to like me? Why can't I turn my brain off? Those aren't answers that you're going to find on your own, because you need somebody on the outside of you to help show you what's inside of you. And that might sound strange, but that's one of the best ways that I can put it. It's almost like when you take the time to really answer some of those deeper questions about your fears, about your childhood, about your family, about your job, whatever it is that's stressing you, your health, when you start to make space away from those spaces, when you start to make space away from those people, when you start to make space away from everything that holds you back on the outside of that office, when you start to make space for that and really be honest about what you're feeling, it's a game changer. Seriously, it's a game changer. And so if we're talking about how to upgrade your life by going to therapy and having that conversation, what stops people from going? You may have family that tells you you don't need it. You can just come talk to us. well, if you could just talk to them and everything would be better, you would already have the result that you wanted. Some people might say, oh, I don't have any money, I can't afford that. You can go to a therapist on insurance. There are way too many apps out there these days for people to say that they don't have access. And if you really are at a low point financially, you can go to your local county office. You might have to stand in line for a long time to get an appointment, but if that one conversation can upgrade your life, why not? As a therapist, we don't give advice. As a therapist, we don't tell you what to think. And as a therapist, we definitely don't judge you for how it is that you feel. If you get a good therapist, that therapist is there to just simply help you learn more about yourself. And even my philosophy is there's a lot that happens to us in life. And I'm not saying that every therapy experience is always going to be good or that you're even going to find the right therapist the first time that you go, but isn't it worth it to try? Because you are the only one that you are going to be with for the rest of your life. You don't get to escape this skin that you are in. It's just you and you every day, in the mirror, in the bathroom, at lunch, at breakfast, at night, when you sleep, when you at work, when you in those relationships, when you dealing with your health, when you trying to figure out those finances. The common denominator of all of those scenarios is you. And if that doesn't bring you a sense of calm or peace and you have difficulty being alone, go to therapy. If you want to know why it is that you struggle, go to therapy. If you want to know how it is that you are going to be able to break the cycles in your family, go to therapy. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to put in any work when you get there. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be work for you to do outside of that room, but you got to go. You got to go. Because the other side of therapy means that you've overcome fear. The other side of fear means that you've overcome all of the thoughts, all of the pain, all of the stresses that have held you back. And on the other side of you is a version of yourself that actually gets to be happy, to be at calm, to be peaceful. And how long have you spent in your life not feeling calm, not feeling peaceful, not feeling happy? I'm running my lips. But seriously, this stuff matters. We only get one life and none of us know how much time we have. We all know that you can be here today and gone tomorrow. So if you are here today, what are you going to do with the day that you have in front of you to actually make your life better? To actually be able to enjoy the time that you have with the people that you love and the life that you want to get to experience. A lot of times you'll hear people say nobody's coming to save you. And if this is your first time that you're hearing that, I'll say again that nobody's coming to save you. And man, I really wanted somebody to come save me. I wanted my parents to apologize. I wanted the elementary school bullies to realize that I actually was good enough and I actually did have value. I wanted the teachers that teased me about my voice and about even my brain thought processes to actually see that I was smart, see that I was capable. And none of those people have ever picked up the phone and said, hey, Charlize, I'm really sorry about what I did to you growing up. I didn't mean it. I was wrong. I apologize. None of that. They also can't contact me because that was years ago and they don't have my number. But you get the point. Don't put your healing in the hands of the people that hurt you. Don't put your life in the hands of people that have already shown you that they can't even manage their own. Sometimes we want people to give us what they don't have, even if we know they should have it, which is more patience, more calm, protect us, love us, whatever it is. I think that's one of the biggest heartbreaks of life is that when you get to life and you get older, and there was this phrase that I'm sure a lot of us heard growing up, which was treat people how you want to be treated. And I feel like the missing part of treat people how you want to be treated was, and they're going to treat you the same way. Nobody ever actually like told me that, but that's what I believe would happen. I believe that if I was a good person, that if I was patient and calm and nice and helpful or loving or whatever it is that I thought made me a good person, if I was that way to other people, I believe that they would actually treat me the same way. And then you get older. And then you realize that's not how it works. People don't treat you the way you want to be treated. People don't treat you the way you want to be treated. They treat you the way that they treat you because that's also how they treat themselves. That's a game changer. Even if you don't ever go to therapy, which I hope that you do. I hope that you find that sense of peace and calm. But I will tell you the biggest therapy mindset unlock to overcome your pain is realizing that people are only treating you that way because that's the way they treat themselves. And no matter how many masks people try to carry and hold, they are not going to be able to treat you any better than they treat themselves. It's literally impossible. And if you are a people pleaser or even somebody that overgives, then you might even be that person that says, I give and I give and I give, and nobody gives back to me, which is a whole other episode in and of itself. But you hear even in that sentence, they're giving too much. And I believe there are two types of people in this world. Only two, as it relates to giving. They fall in either one of these categories. Debate with me if you want to, but it's not going to change my opinion that there are only two types of people. Those that need to give more, meaning they're not currently giving enough at all, and they need to step up to the plate and actually show up for people in their lives. And then there are people that need to give less. They need to give less because they're currently over-giving, over-delivering, overcompensating, and they're not leaving anything for themselves. And when you go to therapy, you give yourself back time. When you go to therapy, you get to find a sense of clarity. And when you go to therapy, you get to have the opportunity to have one conversation that upgrades your life, that helps you to see things differently, sit up tall, walk with confidence, whatever it is that you were looking for. That is why going to therapy is the greatest opportunity that anybody has. But you got to put the work in. Don't go to therapy thinking that therapist is going to do the work for you, because they're not and they shouldn't be. It's your journey. It's your life. And if nobody's coming to save you, the question is, what are you going to do about it? And from one therapist to you, I'm saying go to therapy. You know, the whole message and mission of this channel, what helped me to even start to use my voice, was going to therapy. Remember, I was that little girl that was bullied and said that I sounded like I had a cold and my voice sounded weird. And I was like, man, I can't change that. I don't know why. And even when I look back, people were just curious because I did have a unique voice, and I still do. And so do you. There's something that is unique about you, and it's not just a voice. It's your creativity. It's your talent. It's your skill sets. It's your heart. It's what gives you a sense of passion. Whatever it is, that deserves to come out into the world, and you deserve to shine brighter, fuller, and more often than maybe you currently are. The women on this channel are starting to believe that they are not just pretty on the outside, but worthy on the inside. And that worthy on the inside is the piece that you have to write that permission slip. You have to call yourself worthy. You have to believe that you're worthy, regardless of what anybody else has ever said or done to you in life, because there's no other option. They're not coming to save you. They're probably not going to apologize. And so start believing that you are worthy today. Worthy of hope, worthy of healing, worthy of one conversation that can literally upgrade your life. It did to me. It did to me. It did to me, though, seriously. There's one conversation that can upgrade your life. The question is, are you ready for it? If this conversation helped you, I invite you to check out any of the other videos that you see that are interesting. There's a lot that you could be watching on social media. In my mind, you might as well watch not just motivational, but healing,